Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My computer is going crazy because I'm going to film another video over there, but alas, we're going to mix things up and not do explanations. I'm just going to read to you. So, enjoy that. Genesis 4. Adam lay with his wife Eve, and she became pregnant and gave birth to Cain. She said, "With the help of the Lord, I have brought forth a man." Later she gave birth to his brother Abel. Now Abel kept flocks, and Cain worked the soil. In the course of time, Cain brought some of the fruits of the soil as an offering to the Lord, but Abel brought fat portions from some of the firstborn of his flock. The Lord looked with favor upon Abel and his offering, but on Cain and his offering he did not look with favor. So Cain was very angry, and his face was downcast. Then the Lord said to Cain, "Why are you angry? Why is your face downcast? If you do what's right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must master it." Now Cain said to his brother Abel, "Let's go out to the field." And while they were in the field, Cain attacked his brother Abel and killed him. Then the Lord said to Cain, "Where's your brother Abel?" "I don't know," he replied. "Am I my brother's keeper?" The Lord said, "What have you done? Listen, your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Now you are under a curse and driven from the ground, which opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you work the ground, it will no longer yield its crops for you. You will be a restless wanderer on the earth." Cain said to the Lord, "My punishment is more than I can bear. Today you are driving me from the land, and I will be hidden from your presence. I will be a restless wanderer on the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me." But the Lord said to him, "Not so. If anyone kills Cain, he will suffer vengeance 7 times over." Then the Lord put a mark on Cain so that no one who found him would kill him. So Cain went out from the Lord's presence and lived in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Cain lay with his wife, and she became pregnant and gave birth to Enoch. Cain was then building a city, and he named it after his son Enoch. To Enoch was born Irad, and Irad was the father of Mehujael, and Mehujael was the father of Methushael, and Methushael was the father of Lamech. Lamech married 2 women, one named Ada and the other Zillah. Ada gave birth to Jabal. He was the father of those who live in tents and raise livestock. His brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all who play the harp and flute. Zillah also had a son, Tubal-Cain, who forged all kinds of tools out of bronze and iron. Tubal-Cain's sister was Naamah. Lamech said to his wives, "Ada and Zillah, listen to me, wives of Lamech, hear my words. I have killed a man for wounding me, a young man for injuring me. If Cain is avenged 7 times, then Lamech 77 times. Adam lay with his wife again, and she gave birth to a son and named him Seth, saying, "God has granted me another child in place of Abel, since Cain killed him." Seth also had a son, and he named him Enosh. At that time, men began to call on the name of the Lord. Okay, hold on. I do have to do an explanation because this is so good, bro. This is fire. I'm sorry. Hear me out. Okay, hold on. Like when you just start nerding out, and you're like, okay. Okay, so just for context, that little last section that I read, 25 and 26, that's actually out of place chronologically. So you're going to actually see that a lot in the book of Genesis and a lot in other books. Sometimes things are written and they're not necessarily chronologically written. So even though all of this went down the line and we saw like Lamech and all those people and everybody being born, Seth came earlier, right? At least seemingly that's what the lore says. That's something that I remember being taught. I have to go back and look it up myself. So go investigate that for me. But Seth didn't just come like 10 generations later or however long. Okay, also pray for my throat. I got a lot going on. Also, okay, we got some going to go on here. I just want to comment real quick on the character of God. When Cain was like, "I'm going to give you just like some side pieces," and Abel was like, "Lord, I love you. I'm going to give you everything." Look at God's character. He didn't just say like, "Cain, you suck." Like he looked at Cain and was like, "Cain, do right. Like, don't be mad, bro. Like, that I love what Abel's doing. Like, he's just showing me affection. Like, that's fine. He's just responding to affection to who I am, because he's like recognizing that like I'm providing for him, and he's just trying to worship me. Like, quit being salty, bro. Like, he didn't just smite Cain for what he was doing. He worked with Cain, right? But then we see what Cain did. Cain had just like, you know how sometimes like somebody just pisses you off? That's what that spirit was up in Cain. And Cain was like, dude, like, I am pissed at my brother. And he took him out and he killed him, right? But like, look at also the character of God, that like God didn't just take Cain out and kill him. He protected him. When Cain literally killed his brother, talk about a narcissist, bro, literally killed his brother. And then the Lord was like, bruh, the ground ain't gonna give no more. Like, it's not doing the thing. Cain was like, this is too much, even though he literally just killed his brother. Like, and then goes on to say, like, you know, it's too much for me, Lord. And the Lord's like, and he's like, you know, what if somebody goes out and kills me, bruh? And then the Lord's like, no, I'm going to protect you. What? Like, he puts a mark on his head so nobody will kill him, knowing that now Cain has to go out and find his way somewhere far away from the garden, right? And far away from wherever they were living that was giving. You know, it was just the ground was giving, and now the ground's not giving. And now Cain's got to go somewhere far away because he's a killer, right? But the Lord was like, listen, I care for you too. Look at just that piece of the character of God. Oh, my throat. I don't know what's happening to me. Yeah, and I have like a weird thing that appeared like 3 days ago. Please. Okay, so anyways, all that to say, yeah, bro. God is so forgiving. That's forgiving. And then later on, oh, by the way, when Lamech was like, bruh, if people kill Cain, they're gonna get God. Well, if they kill me, listen, I just killed somebody, bruh. Like, you know, I'm gonna be avenged like 70 times 7. And so what was going on at that time, like what was actually happening, was Lamech was actually a like picture of the like turn of man and what was happening with people, where they were like taking stuff, but they were like skewing it and like being more evil with it, right? So what happened with Cain was like a thing between Cain and God, and like people kind of knew about Cain. They were like, okay, he's got the mark on his head, don't touch him, like yada yada yada. But what wound up happening was like Lamech was like, bruh, well, I want to be BA too. Like, I want to be that guy. I went out and I killed somebody. Now I'm gonna get a mark on my head too. So that like literally that's what happened with like all of the people like up in Genesis and like what was going on. Like, and this is kind of the turn of humanity where people are just gonna become corrupt. Like, it's the purge out here now. So I hope you enjoyed that. I was like, no, I'm just gonna read now. I'm not gonna explain this. I don't think I'm gonna explain every single chapter of the Bible, but stuff that stands out to me and that stuff that I like, I think I'm gonna go in there, and I hope you like it. Okay, all right, bye.